and the Manhattan Project was almost entirely manned by Jews fleeing Europe and fleeing Nazism in Europe. From Einstein, who sort of conceived the basic principles of atomic energy, to Szilard and Fermi and Wigner and John von Neumann, a great titan of our age, Robert Oppenheimer. All the key figures in the Manhattan Project were Jewish scientists fleeing Europe and fleeing the Nazis. And because we met our Israel test back then, the West prevailed in the Second World War. After the Second World War, the Cold War was won essentially by the science of microchips, which, as I explain in the Israel test, was largely a product of Jewish scientists in the United States and Jewish scientists in Israel and technologists collaborating with Gentiles, but still absolutely critical to the successes of Intel Corporation, for example, have been a series of inventions made by Israelis in the United States and in Israel. The 8088 microprocessor, which was the microprocessor in the first IBM personal computer, was designed in Israel. The 8087, the Centrino that connects your personal computer to the network, Wi-Fi, the Core i7, which is their newest microprocessor from Intel, that's called Nahalem, which means streams in Hebrew, and it was conceived in Israel. All these non-volatile memories stem from an invention by Dov Froman at Intel. He was accounted for some 80% of the profits of Intel during its first 10 years were from his inventions, and he's the one who went to Israel and started the Intel facilities there. So, and from this non-volatile memory, these are memories that keep their contents when the power is off. Came all these thumb drives and
compact flash.
The compact flash. All these all those technologies are based on this original invention by Dov Froman and his courses he gave at Hebrew Institute of Technology in Jerusalem, and who's beginning a whole series of companies that run by Israelis in non-volatile memory. And then these technologies, they're chips, that these seem to be consumer products, but the fact is America's success in the Cold War was dependent on our microchips and on our computer and information technology. After the Second World War, we didn't even our big bureaucratic Pentagon projects, classified and secret, could not even keep up with the Soviet Union that sent the Sputnik, the first satellite, and big, powerful intercontinental missiles, the hydrogen bomb, all these devices the Soviet Union managed to achieve. What made the U.S. prevail was not our success in these domains, but secret projects, but rather the commercial success of the microchip, and which enabled the integrated circuit, which made MIRV missiles, and our drones and Predators and all these devices that are critical to our defense, cruise missiles. They're all based on microchips, and that's what allowed the U.S. to prevail in the Cold War, was the efflorescence of creativity in the computer industry, which was a mass public industry. Personal computers and the internet, all this, although it had some military origins, as some people insist, the fact was that what made that industry work is the learning curve, the law of accelerating returns, the Moore's law, that's Gordon Moore's law, with these chips advancing so rapidly that the Soviet Union couldn't begin to keep up. And that's how we prevailed in the Cold War. It was not through secret Pentagon programs. What classification does, when you classify something, it tells the spy what the target is. The spy's biggest problem in facing the mass of proliferating technologies in a capitalist country like the United States, his big problem is he can't tell what's important and what isn't. I mean, it takes real knowledge and discipline and genius really to understand what's important. And if you classify all the really vital things, that just tells the spies what to steal. And if you know what to steal, you can usually find somebody to pay off or somebody But there's no way that a totalitarian regime can compete with the efflorescent entrepreneurship of millions of technically sophisticated people. And this is really what capitalism has enabled, and why the genius of Israel is so vital to the defense of the United States, and why our foreign policy should start with saying we will defend Israel. And if we made this absolutely clear, that we didn't regard Israel as somehow a miscreant nation that needs to be periodically chastised, and the settlers somehow are criminals, based on the assumption that no Jew should ever live in Judea, which is really Judea is the west part of the West Bank, and it's just Jordan is a great big country that was created for the Palestinian Arabs, and if they don't want to collaborate with Israel and work with Israel, they can work with Jordan. That Jordan is the solution. It already is the independent state, a beautiful state, by the way, and it was established for the Palestinian Arabs, and that's the two-state solution. It already is there, and the idea that we should establish the PLO and Hamas, organizations that are devoted to the destruction of Israel in their very charter, their whole lives have no other purpose than the destruction of Israel. To give these people a state is just a bizarre mistake. It's just an absurd tragedy, just like the initial tragedy that essentially took away Palestine from the Palestinian Arabs and gave it to a small clique of terrorists led by Yasser Arafat in the early 1990s under the glorious peace process. All sorts of Nobel Prizes awarded, of course, as when you see a Nobel Peace Prize awarded, you almost always means that some really diabolical person is involved.
Well, it's definitely changed, hasn't it? You don't even have to earn it anymore.
Yeah.
I have a question to you about the UN, and then a separate question about peace. I noticed in the book there is a lot of passion, a lot of worry, a lot of upset about the UN and the role that the UN has played with regard to Israel in this book. And I wonder if you could just speak about that a little bit.
Well, the problem